I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should consider the new 2025 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy Night in Abyss Black over black on black. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. We're going to touch bases on some pros and cons and the comparable rivals as well. In the front, you're going to start full LED for the headlight, daytime runnings, that's standard on all trims, as well as 8 inches of clearance. The fascia, though, is going to be changed dramatically when you go into the XRT, going into the Limited, the Calligraphy, and the Calligraphy Night. Because the XRT is going to have a unique style. It's going to look more off-roadsy. When you get into the Limited, it's going to be black. When you get into the Calligraphy, it's going to be satin aluminum. And the Calligraphy Night is this dark abyss black that matches the paint palette, which makes this the most unique vehicle under $60,000. And all of them are powered with the same power option, which is a 3.8 liter V6, producing 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the Calligraphy Night opposed to the Calligraphy, you can only get this with the H all-wheel drive. So it's going to drop the MPGs. You're at 19 MPGs for the city, 24 MPGs for the highway, but when you go this trim, it also has its own unique Calligraphy Night wheel, which is 20 inches. The Calligraphy also has a unique wheel, as well as the XRT, and the SE will start with an 18-inch wheel. The first reason why I would choose this over the competition is because of the pricing. What you're getting as specs, all-wheel drive, it's a V6, no turbocharge. This is naturally aspirated, a GDI V6 engine, which also can tow up to 5,000 pounds. So for a daily use, you can conquer it. Because this is the Calligraphy Night, you can even go into the Limited trim and you'll still receive the same feature. But it has the blind spot view monitoring, which uses these cameras on the side view mirror to show you what's on the side that you're using your indicators, meaning if you turn it right, it'll show you this side of the blind spot in the 12.3 gauge cluster. There's no vehicle that does that besides Genesis and Kia. LED turn signals are also integrated on those mirrors, as well as an exclusive roof rail for the Calligraphy Night. So yet again, you're getting a lot of styling cues that is only for this. So when you're thinking about Honda, this is going to look a little bit more stylish, and it's a lot less in price with a better warranty as well. The only thing that I have to knock is they still have the satin aluminum here on the window trim and on the back piece. Because we have this Abyss black, they should have just did that through the whole side of the vehicle so it would look a lot more dynamic and giving it that luxury flair similar to Genesis. LED taillights start on the SEL and go up. The sweet spot can be the SEL Premium because you can also configure that trim and the SE as a 7 or 8 passenger, meaning you can get the captain seats in the second row or a bench, but the SEL Premium will add more features in the interior. So for me, that's got to be the second reason why I would pick this over the competition, because I personally own an Infiniti QX60. For 2025, they dropped the V6. Now it's a VC turbocharged 4-cylinder, which is derived out of the XC, which is derived out of the QX50 and 55. That's a bigger vehicle. They've also upped the tow rate to 6,000 pounds, which is 1,000 pounds more than this. But my concern is the shrapnel buildup that's been known from those engines when it first came out. With this, you're not going to have to worry about that. Going against Toyota, Honda is the only vehicle that is actually keeping a V6 at the moment, because Toyota's done the same thing, going into 4-cylinder engines. So when you're thinking about something for longevity, just think about the size of these third-road vehicles. Yes, it's a mid-size SUV. However, when you add a turbo to it, those are usually more for performance vehicles or because the engine doesn't have enough power to motivate these vehicles. What do you think it's going to do in the longevity? The lower is going to get dual exhaust outlets, reverse sensors, the badging's blacked out, and a digital rear view mirror because this is the Calligraphy Night. Power release, which starts on the SEL, going into 18 cubic feet of storage behind the third row. You're gonna have the bag holders, 12-volt charger. Underneath the floor is gonna have a little bit of storage with the jack, and the spare tire is tucked underneath. You split fold the third row electronically in the back. That's going to increase cargo to 45.8 cubic feet, and it'll fold down at a 60-40 split. And the same thing for the captain seats. Just push these two and it will fold them down, maxing cargo to 86.4 cubic feet. 16-way power seat adjustment for the driver with the ergo motion and massage seat function. Heated ventilated seats for the front. 10-way power seat adjustment for the passenger. Passenger power seat adjustments start on the XRT trim. The SEL with Premium will add the ventilated seats, and the SEL will start with the heated seats, and base SE is a cloth seat with manual seat adjustment. Memory for the driver. The interior of the Calligraphy Night is going to set it apart from all the trims because you're going to get every feature. It is somewhat of a driver-focused setup. You get the pattern that goes into play for the passenger side, a flat dashboard with a heads-up display, digital rear view mirror. These are things that can be found on the limited trim. Dual panel moonroof, that starts on the limited trim. The XRT will start with the moonroof. Leather wrap steering wheel is standard on all trims, but the two-tone, which this one doesn't have two different looks, but you can get that with the Calligraphy Night. 12.3 information display. You can click here as well for quick apps. Click onto the home. We have quiet mode, which is standard on all trims. Blue Link, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. Dynamic voice recognition. Multi-device connection, which is standard on all trims. Passenger talk-in intercom, which starts on the limited trim. And we have the upgraded Harman Kardon, which is 12 speakers found throughout. That's going to start on the limited trim as well. Put it into reverse. We got a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. These little icons here, you can zoom in, you can also zoom out, and you can do the 3D view, so you can go all around the vehicle. Working down with actual buttons for the infotainment screen, so you don't have to do everything through there. You can actually hit the buttons, and the same thing, this is actually a touchpad for the dual climate control settings, push to put it into gear, and the driver mode selector. Push this, and you're going to get a wireless charging pad, which starts on the SEL. USB ports, and the key fob, if I can get it out, for the new Palisade. I wish it was like the new design Hyundai key fobs, but I get it. It's not a full refresh or a mid-cycle refresh yet. You can also open these up so it's a full storage, and you push these to give you the cup holders. It's soft to touch, opens up to a deep storage pocket with a 12-volt USB, a little storage tub that comes out with a full pass-through, and you'll have a 12-volt right there on the passenger side. Multi-function steering wheel with the paddle shift, and the gauge cluster is a 12.3 informational display. It starts off as a 4.2. You have to go into the SEL Premium in order to get this, and the SEL Premium will also add the blind spot rear monitoring, which shows the camera when you indicate whichever side that you indicate on the gauge cluster. To change the configuration of the gauge cluster, you do have to go into the settings on the central infotainment screen. Go into your screen layout, and here you can change it to the cube. And you can also change these for a Classic A, Classic B, Classic C. And whenever you change the driving modes, it will also change. The headliner will have the micro suede, door panel, and dash configured together with the pattern and the horizontal lines. It's going to be soft to touch, and you'll have some more of that pattern coming into play. One touch up and down for all the windows with a large speaker mesh grille. Medium-sized storage pocket with a larger beverage holder carved out in the center. The only con that I have is we're on the Calligraphy Night, which is the top tier, and this is not power. This is manual adjustment for telescoping on the steering wheel. For the second row, headroom is not an issue, nor is leg space, with storage behind both of the front seats. USB ports, third climate control, which starts on the SEL Premium, as well as the heated and ventilated seats in the SE. And the only way you can configure this as a bench. The SEL Premium also adds the home plug, and you get a 12-volt charger. The XRT adds the manual sunshades. You'll have the air vents in the ceiling. 64 ambient colors are going to be found throughout the interior of the cabin. And the door is going to have the same materials that's found in the front, except 2 cup holders here and 1 cup holder on the lower. Because these seats are captain seats, even with the bench, you can recline them back, and you can also adjust them forward to give optimal space for the third row occupants. Getting out, it's not an issue at 6'3" with the opening, and One push to get into the third row is standard on all trims. Going back to fit 3 more occupants with power seats for the third row, heated third row seats, USB ports on both sides is going to be part of the premium package. Air vents in the ceiling. Headroom is not going to be an issue. As for legroom with the captain seat configuration, I have plenty of room and I'm at 6'3". The Calligraphy Night is an awesome vehicle on the exterior, even in the interior. When you're thinking a vehicle under $56,000 with 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, naturally aspirated V6, I'm thinking that, you know what, maybe my next car could be a Palisade. Because I personally own a QX60, like I said, on the exterior, and when I reviewed the new 2025, the first thing that I did dislike right off the bat is that VC turbocharged 4-cylinder, which all the variants that's against this, and I understand Infiniti is not quite in the same sect as a Hyundai, it's more so towards Genesis. But when you're thinking about Honda, they get a V6. Go to Toyota, what do you get? 4-cylinder turbocharged. When you go to Mazda, you can get an inline 6. So I do like some of the competition that's giving it, but this is not as big as the Mazda. This is about the same size as a Pilot. You're getting the same capabilities as the Pilot, but this is going to be more luxurious inside, better warranty as well. Standard all-wheel drive, it's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is when you go to this tier, you get all the features it needs. The ergo motion seats, it's only on the driver's seat. That's going to be a con to me because it should be on the passenger seat, as well as giving the same power seat adjustment as the driver because I'm at a 55, 56 grand price tag. But on the Pro, the way the gauges are laid out, it looks like it's nearly in the dash. It doesn't look like it's coming out. So it is more cleaned up in the way they do their stitch work. The seats are comfortable. But then on the con, the steering column, it is not a power steering column. You have to manually adjust it. Now I know that might sound picky, but vehicles in this price start giving you that, especially when you're boasting luxury similar to Genesis. Mashing on the brake, doesn't feel that heavy. Turn radius at a stop point, about 2 lanes. Let's rock and roll. Sound deadening is good. You can still hear the engine, don't get me wrong, and you're gonna be hitting probably 2 to 3 RPMs throughout the day, but in the most part, it gets the vehicle motivated. For something that weighs over 4,500 pounds, I'm kind of comfortable with it. Acoustic side windows and front windscreen. Tri-climate control settings, heated seats in every single row. Now, the reason why I'm saying Infiniti, not just because I own it, but they don't even give you heated third row seats. So when you're starting to think they really are going more towards Genesis, that's the third reason why I would pick this, or even consider this, is you're getting all of that value, which if you go into a GV80, which doesn't offer third row seats, by the way, that could go up to about 80 grand. And when you're considering $80,000, this is $55,000 and I'm getting the same features. The ergo motion seats, heated seats in all rows, ventilated seats in the first and second row, unique seats as well as the material, as well as the paint, as well as the wheels. There's a lot of pros to the vehicle. Now on the cons to it, the configuration for the center cluster is a bit dated. It could be a little bit more refined, but you know what's gonna happen with that. It's gonna get the Santa Fe interior, which I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of for it, but in the same category, I like physical buttons. I don't like how you have to push to put it into gear. I would like a gear lever, but I also really like that when you use your indicators, you can see the camera in the gauge cluster. So you don't have to worry so much about blind spot monitoring. Heads-up display, because this is the Calligraphy Night, a digital rear view mirror, that gives you about a 170-degree view in the rear. Again, what vehicle gives you this with a 360-degree reverse camera that's in this type of price category? Go to Honda, it's gonna be more. Go to Toyota, it's gonna be more. They're not gonna even have a V6 engine. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise website and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I also like to thank Gettle Hyundai of Lakewood for giving us this 2025 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy Night